Hi, Genki Call here with your Soulforge offerings for the week of May 9th, 2022. Let's head into the troops. I don't remember seeing anything really amazing in here, but I could be wrong. Always there, always there. Let's go over the legendaries first. We've got Moloch. Moloch. Drains all mana from an enemy, does some true damage, boosted by the mana drain. So if he drains 10 mana, he'll do an extra 10 damage. So nothing really spectacular here. Enemies lose 1 skill point on 4+ gem matches. That's great if you're doing a long battle with lots of match 4s, but otherwise, the most notable thing we've got here is the Fire Link. Bonus red mana from red gem matches. That means every time you match 3, you're actually getting 4 on red mana matches. Then we've got the Great Maw, which is a fantastic troop that I rarely use because I have High King Iron Gut. So this guy guaranteed will devour an enemy as long as they're not immune. So you just devour something, you stick them at the front of the team, you devour something that's not immune, you sit up there, you do lots of skull damage because it's going to boost all of this, and you just use it as a tank. And it also creates 8 yellow and 8 brown gems. That's what it uses, but you put it on a team with something that uses yellow and or brown and you'll be all good. Plus, all of this. So the Great Maw is an option if you don't have High King Iron Gut. I need to experiment with it more because I know there are a lot of people that don't have High King Iron Gut yet. So, but he is a good option, and will work for E12s and Delves alike. Then we've got Queen Titania, who's actually very good. She fairy fires a random enemy on 4+ gem matches, and that means that it's going to do an additional 50% damage from every spell cast its way. So if there is spell damage, there's going to be an extra 50%. So if there is, just for easy math, if you're doing 100 damage, an extra 50% would be 50, so that would be 150 damage instead of 100, and I know that's really high. Let's say 10 damage, it would do 15 damage instead. So, that extra damage is super, super nice. And then she does damage to all enemies, boosted by red enemies and allies with a ×4 boost ratio. So she gets a boost to her spell. And she also has the Fairy Fire, which will boost the spell. And she gets an extra turn if there are 13 or more red gems on the board. So she's like the exact opposite of Queen Mab. Instead of blue, it's red. And plus this is spell damage, not mana burn. So Queen Titania, very, very good. Would I recommend crafting her? Probably not, unless you're just dying to have her or need her for your Bright Forest power level. She is a very good troop, but 800 diamonds could be spent on something else. Zathinos and Zul'Goth are always here. Now, Starflower is another one that I really enjoy. She also has a 50% chance to fairy fire a random enemy at the start of her turn, whether there are match 4s or not. And then she does damage to all enemies, boosted by all ally and enemy fae and summons. Plus, there's a 20% chance that she'll transform a random enemy into a pixie, which I'm not fond of that kind of mechanic, but the only thing a pixie can do is fairy fire you. That's it. That's all. Unless she gets a hold of some skulls, and that's going to be a lot better than fighting, say, I don't know, High King Iron Gut, because he can be transformed. And then that is it for the legendaries. Now let's look at the mythics. So Amnesia is considered to be one of the worst mythics in the game, and I can see why. Do I not have her? I must not have her. I thought I did. Oh well. Anyway, explode all gems of a chosen color and summon an Infernal King. Infernal King is great. Explode all gems of a chosen color, great, but this is really a legendary type mechanic, in my opinion. It's really not mythic worthy. And the traits just aren't that great either. So I can see why she is not well loved. She's just okay, barely. So let's scoot on down here, we've got Ketzelma. I know somebody who's been desperately waiting for Ketzelma to come around again. Does scatter damage boosted by a chosen gem color. Any gem color you want, except for yellow. And then create 10 yellow gems and remove all gems of the chosen color. So you cast on green, you get a boost by times 3, however many you remove, you create a bunch of yellow. So when you're removing that one color, that's kind of condensing things on the board. And then you're creating a bunch of yellow. And Ketzelma can actually loop very, very nicely if you have it set up right. Like, especially if you're running with Storm Color and you have a Light Storm, to have all of that extra yellow, super nice. I actually really enjoy this troop for the looping capability. Plus, she has the 20% chance to resurrect with full mana when it dies. And she summons Lightstorm at the start of battle if you're not using Stormcaller, for instance. So I actually really like this troop. Would I craft it? Probably not. There are better mythics out there, and unless you need something for Suncrest, or you're getting down to where you only need a few mythics, it just depends. If you really, really want to use this troop, it's totally up to each individual person to decide what's worth it to them. That's all I can say about it. What's worth it to me may not be worth it to you, and vice versa. Like, I love the Wild Queen, but if you don't like skull spamming, then you're probably not going to want to craft her. But we're not talking about the Wild Queen, we're talking about Kalika now. So Kalika is the mythic from Nexus. She does damage to 4 random enemies boosted by elemental stars. Every elemental star will add 6 damage. So you really want to run her with somebody that creates elemental stars. And she actually has a 50% chance to create an elemental star at the start of each and every turn. So is she great? She's really not. Just does not pack enough damage, in my opinion. I've tried her on some E12s and she just seems kind of weak. However, if you run her with Fairy Fire, say Glitter Claw, that Fairy Fires all enemies, or something that, like Starflower or Queen Titania, that does a Fairy Fire at the much force. Sorry, I'm thinking of 3 things at once. Then, she could be more useful. In that case, if you've got a Fairy Fire boost, just about anything becomes viable, except for this guy. Now, the Consort of Darkness, I like him-ish. Here's the thing. He has your magic right here. My magic is 37, +1 is his chance to slay an enemy. Insta-kill, boom, done, gone. They are gone. The only exceptions to that are the ones that are invulnerable, like Raid Boss Zolgoth, Leonis Tower, Enraged Kurandara, and the Dooms. Those are the only things immune to this spell. But the problem is the magic. So you have to have something to boost his magic in order to get something out of this troop, because the 37-38% chance is not very high. You take him into a delve environment, that's going to boost it a lot, but it's still not that high. Basically, he is a weaker version of the Archduke, because the Archduke has a trait that boosts his magic every single turn. His magic is going to go up. Not so with the Consort of Darkness. So if I had to choose between the two, I would say absolutely go for the Archduke over the Consort of Darkness. However, if you need the Mythic for Darkstone to get the power level up, you know what I'm saying here? This steal 6 life from the first enemy when matching purple gems is cool, and it does stack if you have more than one Consort of Darkness, but do you want to take that? However, now that I'm looking at it, steal 6 life from the first enemy when matching purple gems. Check this out. Check this out. The Gemini gives 8 life to all purple allies when matching purple gems. So you run a heavily purple team with the Gemini and the Consort of Darkness, maybe with the Staff of Visions that can give extra magic to a troop. It could be an interesting setup, but Again, it's all subjective and what you're looking for in the game. That is it from Mythics. However, I did want to show you something. We are getting towards the end of this Mythic cycle, and I know this thanks to King Ollie. Oh, King Ollie, I'm so glad I've discovered your information. So we only have 7 Mythics left in this rotation. So we'll get 4 more next week, random 4 that you see here on the left. And then the next week we'll get 3 plus a new one that will start the new Mythic cycle. So we've got the new Mythic cycle coming up soon. That means if you're waiting for something to come into the Soulforge, it could come in, besides what's on this list, it could come in within 2 weeks. It could. It's one in however many we've got, but it is coming. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So as far as weapons go, we've got something really good in here. These 3 are always here. Shattered Blade, Broken Guard, Dawnbringer, Dawnstone, always here. What isn't always here are the rest of these weapons. So Hope Crescent could be your best friend in this event this week. Eliminate all armor from an enemy and deal damage to them, and if their life is greater, deal triple damage. So on the higher levels of this event, especially running with medals and badges, this weapon is absolutely going to one-shot things. It's fantastic for events, especially. Then we've got the Doomed Glaive. Of course, this is considered to be the best doomed weapon in the game. That being said, if you don't like skull spamming, you may not want this weapon, but if you ever are going to consider skull spamming, this is considered the best one in the game. Convert brown gems to doom skulls, and if the enemy has a doom, create 5 more, blah, blah, blah. Even if you are not able to temper this at all, converting the brown gems to doom skulls is super powerful. Think about Queen Beatrix and Gob Truffle. They both they both create brown and green gems. You take all of that brown, you change it into doom skulls, blow up the board, get all of that green back for your troops. It's just really an excellent weapon. I love it. I love running with this weapon, and it's highly recommended that you check this out if you ever want to do skull spamming, because it is excellent. Now, the Wolf Hammer is something that I am using in the World event right now. Deal damage to an enemy boosted by Mogram Woods allies. I'm only using this on my skull spamming team, which isn't going, just to explain, I'm only using it on one team, and at some point the skull damage is not going to work anymore because there's no boost to skull damage from the badges and medals. But for the earlier levels, it's fun to run with Hatir and Scroll and Forest Guardian. But anyway, create a mix of 6 blue and green gems for each Mogram Woods allies. You can check that out in my video that I just posted a little bit ago, or that it will be posted. I don't remember. But anyway, I like the idea of it. If you are wondering if you would ever, okay, blue and green, I have to give the visual, I have to. So all you have to do to see if it would be something worth it to you is to go in here to Mogram Woods, and select blue and green, and see if there was a team in here that you might put together with these colors. So all of these troops, it would boost, every one of them. So it's entirely up to you whether it's worth it or not. And there is another weapon that does the same kind of thing. It's Lupin's Edge, and I don't remember what colors it creates. Let me scroll down and see. Lupin's Edge is boosted by War Gear allies, and it makes green and red. So to see if that one would be worth it to you, you go to troop types and go to War Gear. What did I say? What were the colors? Was it green and red or blue and red? We'll say blue and red. And then you can go through and see, would I use this weapon with these troops? And I don't remember whether it was blue and red or green and red, but either way, Lord of Slaughter. Ooh. But anyway, that is how to determine whether or not this type of weapon is going to be something that you yourself want. Again, it's personal preference. and what you would actually use. So let's go over some of these other things. The Dagger of Mogram is one of those cheapo things in here for 75 diamonds, removes all green gems, so you're denying that to your enemies and boosting your spell with it. You do not get any mana out of it, but you are boosting your spells and denying your enemy that color. If they're from Mogram Woods, do double damage, so this would be a cheap way to do some extra damage to all of your enemies in the world event this week. And then Lupin's Edge I just was talking about. I just didn't give you a chance to look at it. It's green and red gems for each Wargear ally. Devil's Bane, damage to an enemy with a 4% chance to kill them boosted by demon enemies. So if you're fighting demons, that could be very useful. Dustbringer, always here. Moonblade, damage to an enemy, then convert 3 gems of one of their mana colors to lycanthropy gems. No. No. However, let me go in here for a second and look at the upgrades because I'm pretty sure it creates a storm. It looks like it creates a dark storm, and it does. It creates a dark storm. So, you know, if you like running with lycanthropy gems and you need a dark storm, that would be okay, and that will feed into itself. So, you know, it's just not my preferred way of doing things. And there is one more weapon I want to show you that is only going to be in the Soulforge on Tuesday, May 10th, during the Faction Assault at Hellgate. That is the only time you will ever be able to get this, is when we have a Faction Assault there. You can get it in the Faction Assault shop, and you can get it for diamonds in the Soulforge. Of course, gems are easier to come by than diamonds, so I recommend getting it in the Faction Assault shop if you want this. But I have tried this out in the world event this week, and I like it. I like it because I'm using Sharonis and Judge of the Dead, and it's working quite nicely. So anyway, I think that is it for the Soulforge video. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't miss anything. I think we're good, but everything else here is always here. Yep, that's it. All right, folks, I hope you have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.